to see you shine in the night like the diamond you are. I'm good on the side, it's alright. Just hold me in the dark. No one's got to know what we do. Hit me up when you ball. Cause I live down the street, so we meet when you need and it's yours. All I is, and nothing feels better than this. Nothing feels better. Nothing feels better than this. Nothing feels better.
Hello and welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles. Today I'm doing my January wrap up. So I read 5 books this month and DNF'd 1. The first book was the DNF. So that's how we started off the year. The first book that I tried to read this year was I'm So Not Over You by Kosoko Jackson. I actually had an arc of this, but by the time this video comes out, I think the book will have been released. But I DNF'd this book at 5%. In this, we're following a young man who was dumped by his ex about 3 months ago, but he still really has feelings for him. Out of nowhere, that ex calls and asks if they can meet. For whatever reason, he agrees. If my ex asked if we can meet, I would say, fuck you, go to hell. But that's just me. So they meet at this coffee shop or whatever, and the entire time leading up to the point where they get to the coffee shop and then at the coffee shop, continually pining over his ex, talking about how great he is and how everyone loves him and all of this great stuff about him. And I just have a hard time justifying pining over someone who made it clear that they didn't give a fuck about me. So they meet and the ex is like, hey, my parents are coming into town. I didn't tell them that we broke up, so can you come to dinner with me and act like we're still together? Why the fuck would I do that? You dumped me. You don't care about me and you want me to do you a fucking favor? Go to hell. So after he asked him if he could go to dinner with his parents, I stopped reading. I didn't care anymore. I also didn't really like the fact that the main character basically has placed his ex on a pedestal, and I don't get why. I really don't, aside from the fact that he's good looking and rich. And that ain't enough for me. So that book didn't work out for me. As always, I don't want to discourage anybody from reading it. Perhaps me saying that I don't like it means that you will. Love that for you, but I just couldn't do it. The first book that I actually completed in January was A Psalm of Storms and Silence by Roseanne A. Brown. This is the conclusion to the A Song of Wraiths and Ruin duology. I do have a series review up of this in the first book, so I talk about all of my spoiler-free thoughts, then I give a spoiler warning for the first book, talk about that, and then I give another spoiler warning for this book. So if you want to see what I thought about the first book but you haven't gotten to this one yet, you're free to watch at least the first half of that video. So if you're unfamiliar, in A Song of Wraiths and Ruin, we are following the Crown Princess Karina, who wants to perform a rite of resurrection to bring back her mother who was just recently murdered. In order to do that, she needs the beating heart of a king. So she hosts a competition and the winner will earn her hand in marriage. One of those competitors is Malik, our other POV, who has been tasked with killing Karina in order to save his little sister who has been kidnapped by a demon. I enjoyed the first book. I gave it 4 stars, but I actually love this one a lot more. I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought this book was such a fun time. There's so much adventure and found family, and all of it's just really fucking good. I don't know. It's not often for me to like the second book more than the first in a duology, but for some reason this is an anomaly and I absolutely love it. Highly recommend A Song of Wraiths and Ruin if you haven't read it already. The next book that I read was Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. I absolutely love this one and I gave it 5 stars. And this, we're following a young man whose older brother has just been shot and killed. The younger brother is planning to go ahead and get revenge for his brother, but when he goes into the elevator, he has a life-changing experience. That's all I'm gonna say. I love this book and I'm really upset that I did not pick this up sooner, even though tons of booktubers had been telling me that it was great. This is my first time reading Jason Reynolds, so I definitely want to pick up more of his work, and I really like that this book poses a discussion about gun violence and why it's a cycle and why it happens so frequently and all of the things that go into that. So I highly recommend this book. This will definitely be on my best books of 2022, which is great to say. 1 month in, we already got a 5-star read. The next book that I read was Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. This is the second book in the Arc of the Scythe trilogy. I have been buddy reading this series with Robin and both of us have been really enjoying it. I gave Scythe 4.75 stars and it was on my best of 2021. And I'm also giving Thunderhead 4.75 stars. So that is very exciting. I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about this book because I felt like the first one kind of wrapped up really well, but this one was great. So in this world, disease and sickness no longer exist, so there are scythes that go around and glean people when it is their time to die. Because this society is so advanced, everyone could live forever, but they need to glean people for population control. So we follow two teenagers who have been chosen as a scythe apprentice, and we follow their journey from there. So good. So much drama, so many plot twists, and in Thunderhead, the ending was such a huge fucking cliffhanger that I cannot wait to see how this wraps up. I've talked to a lot of people who have either read the first two books and then never finished for some reason, or I think Nicole really liked books 1 and 2, but then gave book 3 3 stars, which isn't bad, but didn't enjoy it as much as the first two. So we'll see how it goes. I'm really excited to finish this trilogy though. The next book that I read was Perfect Match by Jade War. Jade War is my favorite author. If you don't already know, I absolutely love her. She is fantastic. I love the way that she uses different perspectives to slowly give you a little bit more information every time you go around each character, and then there's always something at the end that you didn't see coming. If sexual assault is a trigger for you, I do not recommend this book at all because it does play a large part in the story as a whole, because we're following a prosecutor who defends sexual assault survivors, and then she finds out that her 5-year-old son has also been sexually assaulted. I was talking to Robin while I was reading this, and I was telling her what was happening. I had only been 4 chapters in at that point, and so much had happened. So much. So if that's something that you can't stomach, do not pick up this book. Otherwise, I ended up giving this 4.25 stars. I did enjoy it, and I was happy with the ending. There was, well, I mean, some things went wrong, but there was still a sense of that's the way it should have ended. And when I was 4 chapters in, I was like, wait a minute, so much has happened, and I don't know how this is going to turn around. But also, I know Jodie, and she's going to have a plot twist in here somewhere. I didn't know where it was going to come, and I kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and there were things happening, and I was like, but that's not her big twist because I know how she writes. We finally got to that plot twist, and I was just like, I didn't see that coming at all. She gets me every fucking time. But anyway, I did enjoy this book, 4.25 stars, but again, if sexual assault is not something that you want to read about, then do not read this book. Otherwise, it is very good. She does a lot of scenes that focus around court cases, so if you're interested in that, then she's probably an author for you. And the last book that I read was Jade War by Fonda Lee. This is the second book in the Greenbone saga. So I had mixed feelings about Jade City, even though I still gave it 4 stars because I really, really loved the first half of that book. Like with Jade City, I felt like there was something missing, but I can't quite put my finger on it, and I kind of felt the same way about this one too. Again, I did still end up giving it 4 stars because there were a lot of plot twists that I didn't see coming, and if you don't know already, I'm a sucker for a good plot twist. It gets me every time. In Jade City, we are following 2 Greenbone clans on the island of Kacon. We're more closely following the No Peak clan and specifically the Call family, but these 2 clans are on the brink of war, and the reason that it's called the Greenbone saga is because Greenbones are people who have the ability to wield jade. The more jade you have, the faster you are, the clearer your perception is, the stronger you are, and there are jade principles that you can use to aid yourself in a fight, whether it be increasing your strength, increasing your lightness, deflecting, whatever it may be. It's actually really cool, so if you're into that kind of thing, then highly recommend. But Jade City, it was okay. We read that a while ago. I buddy read the first one with Robin and Dasha some time ago, and then Robin and I decided to continue the series. So in Jade City, we kind of focus solely on those 2 clans, and then in Jade War, it sort of expands a little bit, and we're seeing the overall more sort of global context of Jade and how it affects different people. So a ton more political intrigue in this one. There were some resolutions to things that I didn't love in Jade City, so I'm happy about that. And then there was this one scene that really had me, actually no, there were 2 scenes that had me stress the fuck out in this book. But by the ending, I was actually excited to continue, so Robin and I will be reading Jade Legacy next month. I don't know how all this is going to end. I really am excited to find out, and I'm glad that I did eventually decide to continue and pick up this book. So those are all of the books that I read in January. Let me know if you have read any of these or if they are on your TBR. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video.